Welcome in everybody to another live edition of 410 Sports Talk, a special live edition of 410 Sports Talk. As we were up early this morning, Jimbo. The sun was bright. It was hot out there.
You were up early.
I guess so. Yeah, you were up normal time. But it was an absolute pleasure to be out at the Castle, one winning drive, watching training camp. And Jimbo, I know you haven't been there since we were young, knee-high tykes, me and you out there over at McDaniel College. What were your thoughts and first impressions going into the Castle?
Man, so I feel like the Ravens have it right. The right things they have right, and from the top to bottom. I'm not surprised because if you know Steve Bisciotti's background and the company that he built with Aerotech, they're all about culture. They're all about being a team, working together, being high. I mean, it's a highly, highly, highly competitive organization, but very transparent top to bottom, like not, it's not a titles driven thing. It's pretty flat as far as, so it kind of reminded me of that. I feel like from the, very customer oriented, as soon as we roll in, everything is right. From the landscaping to obviously the representatives there, just guiding us to the parking lot. I mean, it was Chick-fil-A level customer service, right? Like,
that's a good way to put it. Yep.
I mean, that was really awesome. And then on top of that, to go to the facilities and see that there's no expenses spared when getting these players right, giving them what they need, and things like that. So, yeah, no, it was awesome. I was completely satisfied, happy, and proud to be a patron of the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm part of their media outlet, whether they like it or not.
That's right.
So yeah, I was impressed. The other thing I'll say too, man, all their media members, class act, like the internal ones. You talk about Cliff Brown, you talk about Ryan Mink, you talk about Garrett Downing. Just the opportunity to chop it up with them for briefly. Obviously, we don't want to take away from their job, and they're trying to get their work done, but. Just to be able to talk to them cordially for a little bit and rub elbows with those guys and them not take any offense to it or have any problems with it was awesome, man. It was just great, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, it was an absolute pleasure. Like you said, everyone from the person waving you in at the front gate to the parking attendant, showing you where to park, smile on their face, happy, and just couldn't be more polite. It was a blast. And then I have my son there, my 7-year-old, and man, it's just awesome what they do for the kids. All the big slide out back, the throwing of the footballs, the catching punts, all the different obstacle courses they had out back for the kids was absolutely awesome. And, a little bit less people there than when we went in 2019, which gave him a little more opportunity to get on some of these. There wasn't any line pretty much at those events. He was able to, as soon as he was done, have a very short line and get right back in it and play again. His face was dripping with sweat, red, but having an absolute ball. The free ice creams, the free water, and obviously Jimmy's Famous Seafood was out there with a food truck, which was slam jammed the entire time we were out there. But it was an absolute blast. I love how the Ravens covered all their shade for everyone because we needed it today out there, Jimbo. And Billy Seals, he said, shout out to Glenn with the bucket hat. That bucket hat that thing was needed today, man. Protect the ears, protect the neck. This big old, I got a lot of real estate from the old eyebrows to the hairline.
It's a sun magnet, dude. Just a sun magnet.
I got to protect this. So I was very happy with the white bucket hat, keeping my head safe. But yeah, absolute pleasure. But I want to get into what we saw on the field because I'm excited about.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention before we do that, though, is we also got to meet Tony in person. You guys all know Tony. He's come on the show, Tony Thornton, of course.
Yep.
And yes, Cakes, we do need a 410 bucket. That's a great idea. But yeah, got to meet Tony in person. And then the last shout out, I want to give it to our man that was sideline crew, as in keeping the people in the stands. Our connect there, Sean. I mean, he was showing out. He had all the insight. He's telling us where to go, when to be there.
Oh, by the way, if you are going to camp, follow the speakers.
Yeah.
That's what Sean told us. Follow the speakers. Wherever you hear the music, that's where the 11-on-11 is going to happen, and that's where the 7-on-7 is going to happen. Yep. So if you want to get the prime, because they float around. They have multiple
don't
fields.
Be fooled. Follow the speakers.
Don't be fooled. Follow them speakers because they have them roaring when it's time to go 11-on-11. So follow the speakers. I know we were hoping to see Nana Rave out there. Shout out to Nana. But unfortunately she wasn't out there today.
And we did have some people come up and say, "What's up?" which was
Yeah.
awesome. Really cool feeling and super humbling that you guys are out there, and supporting us and willing to come up and say hi to us. We appreciate it. But yeah, let's get right into the football talk. What we saw on the field. Glenn was out there with the old school notepad because they have a very strict no phone policy. So look, dude, you blended right in with the media. I saw Garrett's notepad, Ryan's notepad, all these guys out there with the notepad. Let me tell you what, Glenn, I could never have a notepad.
Why's that?
You seen my handwriting?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to read your own writing. Yeah.
I do pretty good at reading my own handwriting, but it would just get bad. I would have to let them know, look, there's no data on this thing, no internet connection. I just need to type, bro. Need to type.
That's it.
But we took some notes out there. That's ring. Just go back and ring. They would all hate me. Could you imagine that? But yeah, let's get into some notes, observations. Where do you want to start?
So the thing that first jumped out the page to me was I love watching those young new receiver coaches and how active they were in camp. I mean, Jimmy, Keith Williams is out there in a full sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Running intense, letting guys know what you did wrong, what you did. I mean, I saw a guy slip and he went up to him and said, look, you slipped because you didn't place your feet in the right spot. It wasn't because it's wet, because he was pointing at the ground. No, you gotta improve, keep your feet under you, keep your footwork tight. But I just love the energy that him and T were bringing. I mean, remember when the groups all separated? Sammy Watkins spent 20 minutes just talking
minimum
with Keith and T about technique and about the scheme.
Yeah, so he ran a few routes in there, but it was really about stuff at the line of scrimmage and, like you said, route combinations and things. And yeah, it was interesting. I'll tell you what, he looked like Shaq in warm-ups out there, bro. Just full on sweat, right? It was by 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock this morning, it was 80 degrees here and like 95% humidity. By 8 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, So by 8:30, we're pushing 85. Almost 100% humidity. He's, like you said, Glenn, full sweats, and he was out there getting it. He wasn't standing still for a second. But I agree with you. It was really cool to see them work in unison. Because you can tell they curated that whole program together for these guys, right?
No doubt.
And the other thing I just want to mention, kind of going in chronological order of the way that we saw practice, first guy out, number 11, James Prochet. And I got to give him props, man. I don't think at this point he is the smoothest route runner we have, but his hands. He's made a couple tough catches on that one and on the other side, on the other field. But, certainly I was impressed with the work he's putting in. His route running has gotten way better. He looks much quicker off the line. So, yeah, I'm happy with the development. Man, he is fighting for his life, and he knows it.
Yeah, I wrote a note down. He runs every rep at 100 miles an hour. I mean, this guy, full speed all the time. And, you remember the drill when they were when the receivers were taking turns, just turning and sprinting towards the receiver coach, and they were throwing real low balls and making them pick it up off the turf. I mean, snatch hands, absolute snatch hands from James Prochet. And what was funny about that drill is that you could see the difference of which one used to be a quarterback with T. Martin, because when T. Martin was slinging it, it looked a lot different than when Keith Williams was. Keith was trying, but T still got it.
Got some pop to him, doesn't he?
Got it in him. He can sling it. He had some
throwing it on a rope, man.
Yeah, but and yeah, I loved what I saw from James Prochet. Couldn't have been more happy to see the progression he's made. I mean, this guy has made a huge leap, and all I got to say is Boykin, it's trouble. I mean, it's big.
We heard from more than one person.
Yep.
Ain't nobody talking about him. Ain't nobody asking about him.
Nobody's missing him.
Nope. Yeah. Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be heard. It's a really bad time to get injured because that room is deep. They are fighting hard. They are looking good. I mean, man, it was. You're absolutely right. Evan, the agent who we've had on before, always talks about Hall of Fame reps for some of these like fringe guys, right? And James Prochet was the absolute definition today of Hall of Fame reps.
Yep.
So yeah, it was awesome to see those guys go at it. Let's see. After that,
I want to take in that same position back.
Oh yeah, all right.
Because we were loving in the beginning of the practice to see Rashad Bateman out there. I mean, the guy was looking smooth. Love his route running. It's hard to explain the difference between one guy route running to the next. But it's just something looks different when he does it. It just looks smoother. It looks more precise. Like his footwork, every step looks planned when he's running his routes.
Very
I don't really,
intentional. He's very intentional.
yeah, no wasted movement, no wasted steps. Really fun to watch him, go out there and play. But we didn't get to see him very long, Jimbo. It was disappointing to see him get tangled up kind of on the sideline, during a battle for a catch. And at first, when he went down, we both thought it was a cramp because, Marcus Peters kind of helped him to the sideline, but the trainers didn't rush over. It was just one guy was seeing how he was doing. But then when he got up again, very noticeable limp, and he was helped to the locker room. And I think Eric DaCosta even followed them all in afterwards, and we didn't see him the rest of the day. They labeled it, I think they said a groin injury. They're not sure the severity of it right now, and varying timetables on what the degree is. So if it's a grade 1, it's like 1 to 3 weeks. Grade 2 up to 5 weeks, and 3 it goes up even more from there.
Groins are tough, man. They're tough to heal.
Yeah, and so that's disappointing. Because now you got Hollywood, who's been out, you got Boykin, who's out, and now Bateman, who doesn't seem like he can finish a practice. Now, we give a little bit more of a pass to Bateman because of the fact that he is a rookie, and he's coming off of a goofy season, and then prepping for the combine or the pro day. So we give him a bit of a pass, but man, it's just it's not making Ravens fans feel happy when they see another first-round receiver missing time at practice.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%, and it's certainly nerve-wracking to see guy after guy after guy go down. But I will add a silver lining to this. I believe that Sammy Watkins, I haven't seen all of them, is having the best camp of his career. Mm-hmm. Sammy Watkins is, and DK, if you want to throw this up here, because this is exactly what I'm going to go to from Cakes Mitchell.
Yeah, that was perfect timing, Cakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. Here we go. Chances that Watkins will become an early 1 or 2 because of Bateman's Hollywood absence. If you recall, Cakes, I don't know if you saw this one. I think Glenn and I we did our own depth chart. And I said starting the season, we both did. Said Sammy Watkins is our number 1 starting the season. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Seeing it today was just validation. Him and Marlon were going at it in pretty much every drill. He had a huge 75-yard bomb. He looks fast. He looks strong. He looks smooth. But the thing to me about Sammy is he looks comfortable, mm-hmm. and he looks confident, right? And healthy, of course. But if he's comfortable, confident, healthy, we know he was the number 4 overall pick for a reason. So I think if you asked him, he would say he's having the best camp of his career. He's balling out, man. Right now, Sammy looks good. I have all the confidence in the world that guy can get it done.
Yeah, I love the mentality. He said, look, before when I was in KC, I was playing my role, being Hall of Fame at that role, which was free up Kelsey, free up, Hill, give opportunities to other guys and make plays when my number's called. This is a different opportunity here. This is a different mentality. I want to go get the ball. I want to go get targets. I want to go get touchdowns. I want to make plays, first downs. And man, he is exciting to watch because I love the fact that it was Marlon versus Sammy for the most part of the day because iron sharpens iron. I don't want to see Marlon going up against, a Moore or a Gray. No, I want to see him going up against a guy that can really push him, can challenge him and make him better as a player. So I absolutely think that even with the presence of Bateman and Hollywood, that Watkins had a really good chance of being number 1 or certainly number 2. But with those guys being out, the chemistry is just going to build between him and Lamar, which already seems like it's there. And I'm really, really excited. I'm just, fingers crossed because we've been seeing guys go down. Hopefully he can stay healthy because I think he can make a real big difference this year.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm so excited to see what he can do. I want to respond to somebody else's question. We're talking about the wide receiver room, asked about Tylenol Wallace. We talked about Rashad Bateman looking smooth. I tried the best I could to focus on Tylen Wallace, affectionately called Tylenol Wallace. I know his name is Tylen Wallace, guys. But every chance he got, he made a nice catch. Every route I focused on, it was smooth. It's weird because one of those things where I didn't see him necessarily stand out today, but the fact that he blended in is important, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can see the other guys that weren't quite up to the same level as, a Sammy or even a Prochet right now. and some of these other guys, at Bateman while he was out there. But Tylan Wallace was right there, and that's props to him. I mean, he looked smooth. He looked strong. I mean, I saw him make one contested catch when they were on the far side before we went over there, and he can hold on to that football. I mean, that was the one where who's the corner that got hurt and that popped back up? Was that Dorsey? That was Dorsey.
Yeah.
So that was a tough catch that Tylan Wallace made, highly contested, both hands on the football. He came down with it, got his feet in, held on to the football, and eventually went out of bounds. But he controlled the catch. Impressive move from him. And the other thing on Sammy, did you see that other one where he adjusted in the air? It was a little short, and he looked so smooth. That
was on Marlon also. Yeah,
he cooked him, man. That was. Oof.
Yeah, that deep ball was real fun. Watching them race to the goal line, that was really cool.
So Tylan Wallace, I think he's looking really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of the receivers. I think Ben Victor looked a little bit long stride to me, and maybe a guy that's going to struggle to get a lot of separation. But I mean, I still liked his hands. He made a lot of nice catches out there. I just don't know if he can separate. But I tell you one thing, the guy that, when we came into this camp, Jimbo, if you remember when we got there, I said, we haven't been hearing anything about Devin Duvernay. We just haven't been. We hear a lot of Prochet, a lot of talk with Sammy and Bateman and stuff, but not a lot from Duvernay. He was busy today, Jimbo. I mean, how many catches did we see Devin Duvernay make? Didn't see a ball hit the ground. See him out there. He was busy. I mean, I was excited. Obviously, he was catching punts and kickoff, which we saw Bateman catching punts as well before he went out with the injury. But man, Duvernay looked good. He looked fast, and I'm happy to know that maybe it was just a lot of news coming out of the receiver room, and that's why he kind of got lost in it. But I don't think it's because of his performance.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. It's going to be really interesting to see how this whole thing shakes out. It was funny. I was listening to this guy's dad explain to him why they have so many receivers at this point and what they're going to do to work through that process. To whittle it down and keep the guys they're going to keep. But there are certainly some openings, Glenn. Certainly some opportunities for some guys to make some waves.
No doubt. But I want to switch on the other side, Jimbo.
All right.
Because we were really, and I think it was Don C was talking earlier in the chat about Westry, Chris Westry, and we could not stop looking at this guy because he's just gigantic. I mean, we were talking I can't remember a 6'4" corner since maybe Brandon Browner back with the Legion of Boom. And I think he ultimately went to the Eagles, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. Or no, he went to the Patriots when Darrelle Revis was there. But the thing that was cool about him is just, he's big. He's got the length. He's got, but he wasn't slow of foot. He had some burst to him. I'm excited about Westry. I just don't know how he makes this team. I mean, it's such a crowded room, and unless there's an injury, now Jimmy Smith is one injury, but his is expected to be relatively minor, and he should be ready week 1 and hopefully sooner than that. But unless there's some more, I don't know how he makes the team, but he looks good enough to play on an NFL team, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. He's physically imposing. He's not as stiff as I thought he was going to be in his hips. There's certainly an opportunity based on the uniqueness of his build and skill set. I really quickly just remembered something. I want to go back. I want to rewind, talk about Duvernay just real quick. Just drop one more thing. Right. No names, but I heard it from a great source that works internally for the Ravens. That this particular person is not happy with the lack of use when it comes to Devin Duvernay. Didn't like the signing of Dez Bryant. Wants Duvernay to get the ball more. He said he's tired of it. They're dancing around it. He needs the football. There's no reason why he shouldn't have the football more. Wow. Very, very, very upfront and honest and staunch about that point. Pretty bold. I was like, all right, I like it.
I like hearing that, no doubt. I mean, I agree with him. I mean, why not? The guy is never disappointed when he's been given an opportunity, so why not give him more of an opportunity? So, it's like you said. I mean, we pretty much talked to we talked to Jameson's. We talked to all the guys in the know, internally, outside, and yeah. I mean, they gave us some scoop, and I think Duvernay is a guy who needs the ball more, and to be more than just a guy who comes in for a gimmick play and then goes out, and we only see him the rest of the game in specialty. I want to see more consistency out of his his opportunities. But yeah, absolutely, I'm excited about him. But somebody pointed out Chris Westry's 40 time. He ran a 4.36. That is at that size. I mean, whoo, that's insane. That's insane. And if he can, man, I just don't know how this guy. I guess because he played it. He played at Kentucky. That's not like he played it like the smallest school in college. But yeah, that's pretty impressive. A 6'4", like Don C says, a 6'4" corner that can run a 4.3, and he's physical. Good luck winning a jump ball on a guy that's that big. And he's a long 6'4". He wasn't like a short arm.
Every bit of 6'4".
No doubt about it. Big and long, and excited to see him. But also in the secondary that I was excited about seeing, saw a lot of Stevens today, didn't we? Saw him at a lot at safety, saw him at some nickel, saw him all over the field, lined up against tight ends. All over the field. I love his physicality. What'd you think about Stevens today?
Yeah, so he is a fluid athlete. Like I get the 3rd round pick in his athletic potential. Because very fluid, very fast. Now he did get beat on a deep ball, but yeah, I liked the way he was being used. I liked the fact that he seemed more up to speed and less lost than I thought he would be. And so yeah, I'm impressed. Early impressions are that I think this kid's got real potential to be a solid safety in the NFL. It's pretty incredible to think that the Ravens valued him 3 rounds higher than a Deshaun Elliott and a Chuck Clark.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because we got 2 6-rounders back there, right?
Absolutely. Guys that earned it the hard way and made it, in a way that's, it's not like they were given the position right out of college. They had to really earn it, had to put in the grind and get the job. So Stevens, he was further along in his progression than I'd expect from a guy who just transitioned to the defense.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Right.
He looked like he'd been playing defense a heck of a lot longer than he has, and he just didn't look like a running back. And I love he was sticking his nose in there in the line around the line of scrimmage. Ardarius Washington, Dawson brings him up in the chat. We watched him. How'd he look on that blitz, Jimbo? He looked pretty quick, didn't he? Coming on that corner blitz.
He looked quick. He looked like he got a little overexcited too. Yeah. But he looked a little quick. He looked very quick. And I'm a little nervous because I also heard that his chances of making the team are like this.
Yeah.
Which concerns me because we got high hopes for this kid, and it looks like it's gonna be really tough for him. But I'll hold on my prediction that he's gonna make the team because people are saying that Levine can come in and play safety. I don't think that that's their preference. Like I think he's a special teams guy, a guy that he can be a backer, or something like that. But I think being a rangy safety at this point in his career would be an emergency situation. So I don't think it's fair, and then I don't think they want to see Jimmy there either.
It's just like true center field safety, yeah.
Because I think they would have done it more last year.
Yeah, I think what they like to deploy him as an outside corner, tight end specialist. Put him in roles he can succeed, but totally changing his role and making him a center fielder. I think they would have done it a little bit sooner. But I will say this: when I was listening to the pressers after practice. Deshaun Elliott was talking about Anthony Levine, old co-cap.
Yep.
Raves about the guy, dude. Raves about him as a leader on this team, as just a veteran. He said he is our captain. That's our cap. That's not just a co-cap. Isn't just a nickname. He is a captain of our defense. And so I think there's one thing for sure: he's not going anywhere. Now the question is, how much is he used on the back end of that defense, or is he stay in that role he's been at? But I think he's got a safe spot on the team. It's just a matter of who does fill in if there's an injury in the back end and plays that center field role. I think that's kind of still up in the air.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm with you. And there's a lot of questions rolling in, guys. If we don't get to all of them, we're doing our very best. Yeah. But, of course, you can guarantee a response. Once again, you don't have to. But if you want to guarantee a response and you feel so compelled, throw in a super chat. But we're trying to get to all of them. So if we miss you, we're sorry. But yeah, I don't think Co-Cap's going anywhere. I was excited to see Washington. I am a little nervous. He looks small, but he doesn't look unreasonably small to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can still belong. He can still play. He looks like Tavon when he came into the league. Tavon Young has thickened up, right, as you should. But certainly he looks like he can belong. And so I'm excited about it. And no fear. The way, he went head on took on the blocker and things like that. So yeah, no fear in his eyes. You can tell there. But I want to, Glenn, talk for a second about the big boys, because I think chronologically, if I'm not mistaken, we watched the wide receivers, and then we watched a little bit of the wide receivers and the DBs. And actually, timeout. I'm all over the place. We need to get to Shaun Wade since we're talking about the corner.
Yes, and Lisa Ann asks, what are the odds of all the rookies making the squad? I think that if Shaun Wade, we talked to some of the guys again on the sidelines that have been at every single one of these practices. And, without dropping names, they basically said, I don't know how Shaun Wade makes this team. I just don't know how. He was getting cooked by everyone. Absolutely everyone. It was kind of rough. Even like Gray, Jalen Moore
put him in the spin cycle.
He did, man. He was
and
in the
then
blender.
Caught it right in the end zone as Shaun Wade was falling. Oh, sometimes you can't come back from those, man.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to watch. Now, I think that Shaun Wade might be a perfect, because they don't cut same year draft picks. They just don't. But he could be a perfect guy to do that IR stash. Give him some more time. He'll still be in all the meetings. He'll still be, involved with the team. But I just don't see – I cannot see a path to where he gets that much better and is ready to play. When he was he wasn't like he was getting cooked by this isn't a guy who was getting cooked by Sammy Watkins and Rashad Bateman. This guy was getting cooked by the guys that aren't even expected to make this roster.
82.
Darius.
He's not even the pamphlet that they give you. He's not even on there.
Yeah, he's not on the roster pamphlet, and he cooked Shaun Wade. So it's a little bit hard to watch. But Cakes Mitchell says, if you were Harbaugh, how many quarters would you play Lamar in the preseason? More because of his time missed or less because of the risk of injury? That's a good question. I think that is a question a lot of people want to know the answer to, because if you look around the league, is people do things differently. Some play their starters a ton. Others, like Sean McVay, will not play a starter the entire preseason. And now I'll say this. They do have a joint practice scheduled. Is it with the Colts?
With the Panthers.
Panthers, that's what it was. Sorry about that. And they do find that those reps are more valuable than preseason because of the fact that you can have 30 or 40 reps from your ones going up against another team's ones in a more controlled setting where it lessens the chance of injury, but also gives you really, really good reps that you can really work on parts of your game.
Yeah, because you don't have those guys at the end of the roster mixed in that are, hitting guys like, their livelihood is on the line. So sometimes, you get a one mixed in with a guy that's a bubble guy, and that bubble guy will take your head off. Not necessarily something you want in preseason, right? Like you said, it's a more controlled environment. But I will answer this question this way. I believe that Lamar will play less because of the chance of the risk of injury. So I'll take option B, Cakes, final answer. And the reason I will is because I feel like John and the Ravens are taking a very conservative approach this year. I feel like more than I've seen in the past. And I think that's reflected in the fact that Hollywood's not back yet. I think that's reflected in the fact that Zeitler's not back yet. They're not rushing these guys back. I think that John has decided just to take a different approach. I'm okay with it, right? Mm-hmm. I want these guys to get healthy before they're out there. I don't want nagging stuff going into the season, because when the season starts, we need to rock. So I would say less. I would say maybe max one drive, if that.
In the first one, yeah, I think like Dawson says in the chat, a drive, maybe two. But that really, I think the only way he gets to two is if it's like a quick 3 and out on the first one, and they just didn't see enough, and they want to see a couple more plays out of him. But I would also not be shocked to see him not play at all. And let's see what these two young guys have with the, giving them an opportunity to run with some of the ones out there. Although I will say, I'm not sure how many of the starters will be out there. And if you don't have an offensive line that's at least resembling what you could put out there week one, then I don't know if you'll put Lamar behind those guys and risk him getting injured.
Correct.
So,
another great point.
There is that who's ready in front of him. And I don't expect Stanley to be ready because he's still not out there team drills. Saw a ton of Tyree Phillips running with the ones. Pretty much primarily saw Tyree Phillips running with the ones. Saw Schofield with the twos, backing him up at left tackle. So, it remains to be seen. But we're excited, and hopefully we'll be watching that game with our own two eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hope we're planning on getting some tickets tonight. And if you guys are there, come find us or tweet at us or hit us up on Instagram. In fact, shout out real quick before we get to the guys we saw next. Francisco Espiritu Santo. That is an awesome last name. That means Holy Ghost.
Is that
How
right?
cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, anyway, Francisco, shout out. He was our first follow on Instagram today.
Appreciate it. Hey,
yeah.
Cam Wee, where you at? Cam Wee has been on us about our Instagram for months. He's like, come on, guys. What is taking so long? We're finally up. We got to see Cam Wee, and hopefully he gives us a follow, and we'll do the same.
Yeah.
But Robert Pittman points out a good point about the O-line. Unless you had somewhere else you want to touch on.
Yeah, I want to go to the O-line and then to the running backs. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
So the O-line is a concern. I mean, it's a concern because of the fact that we didn't see Zeitler out there today. We didn't see Bradley Bozeman out there today. We saw Cologne Castillo, which, by the way, only had Cologne on his back.
Yeah.
Which surprised me. No Castillo. But he looked okay out there. He was firing them back there and on target. But, Phillips was the primary left tackle, which we know Stanley's working his way back. But, we did see Ben Cleveland and Big Al. So those are the two who we expect to be starters out there, and they were. But I'm getting a little concerned that how can this offensive line build chemistry when these guys aren't on the field together? I don't know how. Eventually, we're gonna have to see them in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, the game is Saturday. Like, the season is coming quickly.
Yeah, I agree with your concerns, and I have the same ones. But I guess I'll say this: 3 of those guys are vets. So Zeitler's playing his natural position. He's playing for years. Now, we want him to be together, but he is a vet, so that helps.
Yeah.
Stanley's, he's a plug and play guy, right? And so that helps. But once again, we heard some reports about Villanueva and got us a little concerned. And we talked about that in our video yesterday. And we heard mixed reviews. Some people said he's been all right. Nobody said he's been bad. Everyone said he's been all right. But a ray of sunshine was that.
Vinny said he was bad.
Sorry, yeah. So today, no one said he was bad. Vinny said he's been the biggest disappointment in camp. 2 days ago or yesterday.
But we also know that Vinny can be quite hard on people. Although we do respect his football knowledge. We're talking about Vinny from 105.7, the former GM and player and scout. Player personnel director and scout. But we respect his opinion, but when he goes in on someone, he can be a little harsh.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think one Ravens media member said the same thing that we were saying, in that you got to remember that he's going through a transition himself, right? Mm-hmm. He's changing team, changing scheme, and changing position all at once. So give him some time, let it simmer, and let him keep working. Because Big Al, one thing he's not going to do is stop working. And so I'm glad that we at least had one person agree with us in that same with that same idea and kind of mindset that we're taking to where he's at right now as offensive lineman. But yeah, Glenn, lots of concerns. What was your take on Ben Cleveland?
I tell you what, that dude is. I mean, it's so startling to see him in person. How big he is. I mean, you standing next to Makari, who, by the way, when we were first walking up, he was like 10 feet away from us. And you forget just how big all these guys are. Makari is gigantic, right? But when he's standing next to Ben Cleveland, just compare, not even if you ignore the barrel chest that Ben Cleveland has, which is absolutely ridiculous looking. His lower half, Jimbo, his big old thick hind end and his thick old legs and his big calves. I mean, this guy is just gigantic. He is so big, so strong. I just can't wait to see. He's one of the players I'm most excited to see on Saturday when we actually see some live bullets, because he's so big, so strong, and he looked good out there. I mean, he was physical. He looked strong out there. I saw him. He was taking on Metabike. He was taking on all the big guys inside, and he looks good, man. But just impressive how thick he is, man. As a rookie, he's like the thickest guy on our O-line.
Yeah, his calves have. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, he had veins popping out of his calves, bro. As offensive lineman, like, you don't see guys like that have veins popping out because they're usually higher in the body fat percentage, right? Like,
yeah,
man, that dude has very little fat on his body. Not too many guards. Their chest sticks out further than their belly, right?
I mean, barrel of a chest,
Just
like
built different. I mean, I've seen very few humans like that in my life. Guy was just ridiculous. But I will say this. You mentioned it. Calais Campbell taught him a thing or two. I mean, has to be expected, right?
Yeah, of course.
Clay is one of the best of all time.
He got to, was that Trace back there when he got past? I think it was Trace.
And no, that was Lamar.
Oh, was it Lamar? Okay.
And he would have.
Yeah,
if Lamar stuck in there.
Well, yeah, we don't know if he would have actually touched Lamar because it's Lamar. But any other quarterback,
that's what I'm saying.
Folded. Yeah,
right. If the bullets were live, right, that would have been bad.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's Calais Campbell, who, by the way, has looked fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I hope he's not coming out too strong.
And just emptying his tank a little early.
Yeah, that's my concern. But do you have any, other than Ben Cleveland? I will say this: Colon Castillo, I've decided, only has Colon on the back of his shirt because he's at the Castillo.
Oh,
he's at the castle, bro. He doesn't need it on the back.
Hold on, is Castillo Castle? That's
Castle, correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Learn something new every day.
He's Colon at the Castillo. You see that?
Okay, I see what you did there. Maybe we'll see it back on his back once he's away from the castle and in the bank.
That's right, exactly. All of a sudden, it'll be back.
But I tell you one thing. I wanted to say one thing quickly. Tyree Phillips. I'm happier with what I saw from him than I last saw him. Like, I think he's got a real shot to be a quality swing tackle at least this year. And then maybe next year he's our starting right tackle or earlier if Big Al disappoints.
News. Another source who will not be named today said that he does not believe it will be Tyree Phillips. I asked him the same thing. In fact, he thinks that he won't develop into a starter based on what he's seen. That it will be the guy we got from Denver that tore his Achilles.
So they're gonna, Juwan James.
Yeah, that they're eventually going to pair him up with Stanley to be our bookends. And the reason they got him was because they're not confident in the development of Phillips.
They're not sold on Tyree. Well, I mean that's certainly. I what I liked about it is, for one, he was getting all the reps, so he's given all the opportunities to either make it or break it. But I didn't see him getting abused out there today.
You're right.
Not from what I saw. Now
he looks stronger too. He looks more in shape.
He tightened up. Absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
Didn't have a big old belly on him or anything like that. I thought he looked pretty good out there, and I think he's happy to know that he's getting as many opportunities as you could ask for as a young player to kind of stake his claim on his roster spot as being that swing tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a solid bright spot. The other thing I'll say too, I think we both had Colon Castillo getting cut.
Both of us.
He is easily the surest snapper on this team. As far as snapping the football, that is for sure right to the gut. And it's a bullet. Every single one of his snaps on the money. And John said, we want to be perfect there.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that Bozeman's not going to be our starter, but what I am saying is that Macari is our emergency everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe they hold on to Castillo because they don't like the idea of Macari being anything more than an emergency center, not a backup, but a true emergency based on what happened last year.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's really just going to come down to how many guys do they think, how many of those guards do they keep? Because, like Bredesen, do you see him being anywhere else but a guard? I don't know. Maybe some set, but we haven't seen any of that. So I don't think Powers, he's a guard, but Macari, he can be a guard. He's played tackle. He's played center. So he can do both. Colon Castillo, has he done? Have we seen him other than at center? I think positional versatility is what helps you make the team as a backup. So
yeah,
I just want to see, whoever they pick, I think is the most versatile of those guys out there. And so it's going to come down to that. But right now,
Macari was taking long snaps, dude. He was long snapping, practicing this morning with the special teamers.
Yeah, it looked like he hurt his ankle early. You remember he was getting taped up when we walked by, and I think we didn't really see a ton of them. And maybe I was just missing him, but I remember when he got taped up, I thought he kind of took a step back from a lot of the team drills.
But there's nothing he can't do.
Exactly, and that's valuable.
Did you see what your boy Prince Quan said, Glenn?
No, what'd he say?
he said, Glenn said, I just know how to order Taco Bell. Glenn was like, I only know how to order Taco Bell, talking about the Spanish.
Oh, yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got. Oh, and by the way, Jimmy had to show that off again at camp today because after practice, DK was working on.
JK.
I keep saying DK because I see DK in the back. JK was working on some individual stuff, and Jimmy had talk a little Spanish with him since he learned. Spanish.
Got his attention though, right? It worked.
No doubt, he looked right over, and I think he's climbing the ranks. I'm going to tell Gus. I'm going to send Gus an email.
Oh, trust me. Gus has a special place in my heart.
Okay. All right.
Special place. Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, he had to show that off. You know, he was talking to the Raven Spanish radio, schmoozing them up. You should have seen him.
They're coming on the show. They're coming.
My wife said, "Go over there." And I said, "What am I going to do? Stand there with a goofy smile on my face while everybody talks Spanish?
Bucket hat, just
my bucket hat on." No chance. I said, "Jimmy's got that. Let him do his thing over there." I saw nothing but smiles coming from that area. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, it was pretty cool out there. I mean. I loved how, you know, it's interesting. There was no signatures today. There was no, you know, signing, but a lot of players gave their gloves away, gave some of their stuff they were using away. And I'm just like, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the rules and stuff like that. But if you can give your sweaty gloves away, I think you could sign someone's note or, you know, flag or whatever you had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
let's talk about the backs if that's cool with you.
Let's do it. What'd you say?
Let me tell you what. Gus Edwards didn't miss a beat. My boy's out there making catches, looking like he's in every year, Glenn, without a doubt. Look, and let me tell you something else. Just another nugget of just another insider nugget here. We were comparing, me and a Ravens media member were comparing the progression of Gus Edwards to Jalen Ferguson.
Not close.
Yeah, and he said Jalen Ferguson has every genetic benefit to look like a Justin Houston, to look like a Terrell Suggs, to look like a Derek Wolfe, whatever, you know what I mean? A guy that is very physically developed, and he hasn't taken advantage of it. Really unfortunate to hear that. But he, you know, in contrary to that, Gus Edwards every single year has looked better, has looked faster, has looked stronger, and has looked to add something to his game, a wrinkle. And I think this year it's the passing game. Glenn, you've highlighted before, people hate on Gus in the passing game. One, he's already our best blocking running back, so he's probably going to be in on a decent amount of plays on third down. Number two, you said it before, he's got a better catch percentage than Justice Hill.
Oh yeah.
So I liked to see the little things in the passing game. Gus's form, his consistency, his comfort, being comfortable, his comfortability, is that a word? His confidence in catching the ball, just being comfortable with it was great. I mean, the dude must not have had any symptoms of COVID because he is just looking right. Gus Edwards didn't miss a beat. Dude was born to play football, Glenn. Like, what else is there?
Yeah, I love listening to his presser, talking about the opportunity to buy his mom a house, talking about how, you know, he knew that this was an opportunity to change generations of his family and how they've lived. And I tell you one thing, he's gotten way better behind the mic than when I remember when he first
I feel like
came
he used
out.
To get real nervous.
Absolutely. So much more comfortable, so much more confident in talking to the media, just to be himself. And I loved seeing it. But you're right. I mean, remember when the quarterbacks went around, they were throwing at the target in the net where they wouldn't let us walk by them, which was driving us crazy. We tried, but this little old lady was putting the brakes on everybody.
Patricia.
She was by herself, like, no one's getting by while the quarterbacks
she might have to play O-line.
Yeah, she was undefeated, never lost. But when they were doing that, the running backs were working on their hands, working on catching balls thrown at all different spots, low, high, side.
Yep.
And him and JK, none of them dropped a thing. Love to see that they're continuing to expand their game. And he talked about, I needed to get better. I wanted to keep getting better. Both of them has said that they want to get more involved in the passing game. And that's encouraging because, Jimbo, we talked about we want to see more opportunities for the running backs to make plays because, let's be honest, outside of Lamar Jackson, they're certainly the guys you'd want to have the ball in their hands. They have the best opportunity to make yards after catch, break tackles. So let's get them more involved. And you know, Lamar has said in the past that he likes throwing more than he likes running. So I think that they made an effort and they told the whole team, including obviously the running backs, we're going to get you all the ball more in the passing game. We're going to use you guys more as a dump down and not just ask you to turn and block for Lamar, but instead catch the ball and let's see what you can do with it. And I really think Gus and JK are set up to have career years from a passing game standpoint, which isn't really saying much considering we just didn't throw it to our backs very much. So even if we do a small amount, they certainly have an improvement. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do through the air and just to add that wrinkle, that we just haven't seen the past few years.
Yeah, and to add on top of that, it looked like they had some designed plays to the running back, not just dump offs or anything like or check downs. They were designed plays. And man, doesn't JK just look like he's walking around with springs in his shoes?
No.
Every time he gets the ball, it's just boing, boing. I mean, the dude has such a spring in his step that it's incredible to me. I enjoy watching him play. His explosion is second to none. I mean, just his get up and go while he's changing directions, all those things. Yeah, I mean that I was impressed with both of those guys. I'm excited. Now, wasn't impressed with Justice Hill as far as his ability as a running back. He dropped a pass or two. I saw him drop at least one and maybe another. Didn't pop to me. He did do a lot of special team stuff, and that might end up being the entirety of his career, which no knock, right?
Yeah.
But certainly didn't impress me as far as a running back today.
Yeah, it didn't blow me away, but I think it's I did hear Gus talk about him. Gus was raving about the work he's put in. Says he looks.
Yeah, they're boys.
Yeah, they're buddies. Which I mean, that's cool to hear you hyping up your teammate. I always like to hear guys that can heap praise on their teammates because in sports, it's a lot of times you don't see guys really hyping their teammates up a lot.
Especially not in the same position group.
Well, yeah, which is why I really love Mark Ingram and what he brought to the Ravens. Because talk about a guy that hypes up his teammates. But I didn't think Justice Hill jumped. I mean, he, like you said, I did see the drop that you saw, but he didn't jump out at me. It wasn't anything but I do think that his roster spot is pretty solidified.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see anybody else at the running back spot jump. We did see Tyson out there, Tyson Williams, but nothing that wowed us. But it's kind of hard when you're when you're in this type of setting to really pop, because it's not like you're going to go out there and break a bunch of tackles and stiff arm guys. It's not really that setting yet. So maybe Justice will impress us in the preseason game, because I think he's certainly going to get a ton of opportunities in the preseason, because I can't see JK and Gus needing a lot of reps, because like Gus said in his presser, it's different now. He doesn't have to earn the trust of the coaches. They already know who he is. They know what he can do. And so now it's all about consistency with him. And so I think that they're going to give a bunch of reps to Justice and a bunch of reps to Tyson Williams and let the best guy win.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, I mean, I think I'm pretty confident that he makes the squad. But let's stay right in the backfield real quick, Glenn. Just a quick observation. I've been telling you guys out there, there's a significant difference between Patrick Ricard and Ben Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Ricard is in rare air. The dude looked today like he had lacrosse pads on or Pop Warner pads on, and still much larger than Ben Mason, who was all pads. I mean, he had the old fullback, the neck collar and everything else. But did you get it? I mean, I saw him do some stuff on special teams. Once again, we were kind of far away at that point, but I did see him run in on special teams. Did he stand out to you at all? What was your take on Ben Mason, and what observations did you have?
Yeah, I thought he looked bigger than I thought, like it was expecting. He's a big dude, like as far as his thickness. He's a big, strong guy. Now, you're right. He did have the big pads on, whereas Pat Ricard had like the smallest pads possible, and he was still gigantic.
Who was the guy that played for the Seahawks that used to wear no pads? He was a edge rusher. Then he went to the Cowboys. He had a brother that was in the NFL. He was a tight end. His brother won a Super Bowl with the Patriots.
His brother was a tight end, or he was?
His brother was a tight end. He was a defensive player.
Marcellus Bennett.
Michael Bennett.
Michael and Martellus.
Yeah, the
Bennett?
Michael Bennett pads on.
Yeah, the super small, almost hardly recognizable pads. Looks like pads you'd see in like a woman's suit. Just
like
real
the shoulder pads, like Michael Scott was rocking that one.
Exactly, just small. But I tell you, he is a big. I mean, Ben Mason's a big dude too, man. For being a rookie, he is a well put together dude, big and strong, thick everywhere. Not like spindly legs, but thick up top. He was thick everywhere. Saw him running a lot with the tight ends, which is expected. But I just can't wait to see, how they use both these guys, how they can reason to leave two fullbacks on a roster when most teams have zero.
Yeah.
Means you have to use them. You have to find a way to make them valuable on your roster. And I just don't know how they can do that with these guys, especially when you consider how deep that tight end room looks right now, which we're going to get into because I want to ask you, Jimbo, you were talking a lot about your guy, Josh Oliver. What'd you see out of Josh today?
Yeah, man, I thought he looked good. It was nice to see that. To me, in the plays where you have no one on you, you're running routes and things like that, he mirrored Mark Andrews, right? Like that was because after him and Mark Andrews, there was a noticeable drop in route running ability for the tight ends. Mm-hmm. Stiff hips, not convincing in their moves, not strong in and out of breaks. These guys are certainly block first guys, right? Mm-hmm. But Josh Oliver looks extremely athletic. You were talking about, he looks much stronger than I thought as far as the image and the highlights I'd seen of him before. Well put together, like you mentioned. So I'm impressed. I think that just like I know I'm not the only one, but if they keep a third tight end, I think he would be it. And then regarding the fullback room and the tight end room, because it's kind of blended, I want to kick this back to you real quick. We did hear one person say that there's a chance that the Ravens could, you would have to release a pick, right? But they could, that Ben Mason could find his way on the practice squad. Mm-hmm. Because the chances of him getting picked up as a fullback in the interim, right, is very low because most teams that already have a scheme that requires a fullback already have it, already have him on the roster. Yep. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good point that, there's not a ton of teams that have a fullback, and the ones that do already have their guy. But I will say there's always that chance that there could be an injury, and then that need opens itself up, and they could look around the league and go, well, who develops fullbacks better than the Baltimore Ravens when they took a D lineman and turned him into a Pro Bowler, took Kyle Juszczyk and made him the highest paid fullback in NFL history when he signed with the Niners. So I think that would certainly be some intrigue. Like maybe these guys know what they're looking for when they pick a guy like that, and I think that he would certainly. But that's a big if. There has to be an injury to a specific position, on a position in which most teams don't even carry. So I do think the likelihood is pretty high that they can get him through the practice squad, but
it would just be a rare move, right?
It'd be a very rare move to cut a guy. Now, I think he could be, just like we said with Sean Wade, an IR type guy. If they don't find that they can create that value of having him on the roster every single Sunday, that maybe they could put him in a position where they put him on IR and they say, we'll talk to you next year. And maybe Pat Ricard is then fighting for his spot because, you got cheaper guy, Ben Mason, who could maybe do the job for a lot less. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's just tough for me to imagine that them keeping keeping two fullbacks when the tight end room is so deep. The cornerback room has got some serious competition. Wide receiver. Now, if guys keep going down, maybe that changes things, but I just don't see how you keep two tight ends, man. I can't wrap my head around it.
Right. So you're saying you don't know how you keep. You mean two fullbacks?
Fullbacks. I'm sorry, fullbacks. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I was trying to figure out if you meant only two tight ends again, like last year, or you meant two fullbacks, but you meant two fullbacks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gotcha. Nah, for sure. Well, let's take a quick commercial break here. No, I'm totally kidding, guys. No commercial break here. But I think DK's got something. We mentioned this before. We're up on Instagram today. We're having a blast out there. Go find us. You're showing off the swag. Glenn with the bucket, but we both got the shirt on. Repping 410 Sports Talk out there. It was an absolute blast. And as soon as it's here,
it's gone.
As soon as it's gone. So I think it's back again. We got another one. Bam! And
there
this picture is actually really funny.
Look how you're posing.
If you scroll through these pictures, we are. It's like a picture book where we're high-fiving and it looks really corny. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, go check us out on Instagram. I think we'll be a fun follow. And we'll be posting every single time we drop a new video and every
Troy always has the best comments.
I know.
Gilligan's Island. Oh, I love it. Gilligan's.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And then of course, this picture is also funny because I'm posing that way, and Glenn is looking at me like, "What do you?" If you zoom in, he's looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I'm like, dude, why
are you posing that way? I was just having fun. I was feeling the rush.
Oh man, it's such.
Look at Glenn's face in this, bro.
Like, what is this guy doing over
Just saying,
here?
it looks like I did my push-ups this morning. Let me just say.
I see you poking. I see. Took a deep breath on that one.
I don't know about all that, but that shirt's big enough. I'm all right.
But yeah, no, it was a ball out there. But somebody brought up. I see Melvin asked about Adafe, and I'm glad he did because I want to talk.
You want to move right there? Let's get to that.
I want to talk some pass rush because, man, Adafe Owe, man. For one, he looks big. He looks lean. I mean, he looks like he fits right in physically. And then when you look at him when he's got his hand in the dirt, the dude's got burst. The dude can absolutely move. And that whole group has me more and more excited. It was a group that had me most concerned, before the free agency, before the draft all started. Now has me really, really excited because of the potential what these guys could do.
Yeah, and adding to that, to instill more confidence in us, Dalen Hayes could be the surprise of this draft.
Yeah.
He was in the backfield more than once. I think he would have wrecked a couple plays if it was full speed simulation. He certainly scared the crap out of Trace a time or two and made him think twice. So yeah, I liked seeing him in the backfield. Udafe, to me, we were talking about this. I think it's great that Justin Houston is here because now that I think about it, I think that's the type of guy he wants to be. They're similar build. I think similar skill set. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's great that Justin is here to lead the way and show him, show him the rope is that how it says?
Show him the ropes.
Show him the ropes. Is that how it says? Oh my gosh. Is that how it goes? Yeah. So show him the ropes and really train him up, train the young pup up. But certainly he looks like he belongs. Doesn't Glenn? He doesn't look as raw as I thought he would.
No, he does not.
But I'm still not eating my microphone cover.
Oh, I'm telling you what, Jimbo.
I feel very safe. 10 sacks is a lot, man. Look, he might win Defensive Rookie of the Year if he starts getting double-digit sacks.
Yeah, Jimmy was so nervous about eating this microphone cover. He was asking everyone in the media.
I only asked one, but yes.
And when he said the same thing. He said if he gets 10, he's going to be defensive
that's
rookie
exactly
of the year.
I brought it up. Exactly. So, I mean, unless that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, but I tell you what, the guy is fast. He's explosive. And yes, somebody, I think it was Prince Quan asked earlier, that speed is translating to, it looks to be, at least. Still hard to tell until they're going, until they have some live competition in front of them. But it looks really impressive. He's so fast. But what's funny is as big as he is and as well put together as him and Houston are, Pernell McPhee's still the biggest and baddest looking dude in that edge position.
Yeah, you need to tell them what you told me when we were standing there.
Well, I just said he's the one guy you don't want to see in a dark alley. I mean,
yeah, if you guys remember, we had that conversation, 2-3 months ago? What Raven would you not want to see in a dark alley? You're right. He takes the cake.
I mean, he is just big and intimidating looking, man. He's big. He's strong. At the same time, if he was on your side, you'd want him in that dark alley with you because I'm not sure how many people would want to challenge Pernell McPhee. But, yeah, big and strong and just it's exciting to have this veteran leadership grooming the young Dalen Hayes and Adafe Owe. And then you got, Bowser, who's kind of splitting the difference between these guys, who's kind of bridging the gap generationally.
Now, Jalen, though, doesn't sound like there's too much confidence in the Ravens media that he's making this roster.
Who's that?
Jalen Ferguson.
No.
Sounds like his days are numbered. That the Ravens apparently are disappointed knowing that this is the season for his career. Mm-hmm. And he came in looking the way he looked and acting the way he acted. There's no sense of urgency. He acted the way he's acting. Whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's fighting for his roster spot. It just doesn't do anything that jumps off the page. He doesn't impress you. And then when practice was over, I think Tanja mentioned it about Justin Houston.
Yeah.
When we saw Justin Houston after practice, he's got his pads off, but where is he, Jimbo? He's over working on one-on-one. He's working on stuff by himself. He's hitting the tackling dummy. He's working on his hand placement all by himself. And this is a guy who's got almost 100 sacks in this league. This guy has done it all, seen it all, but yet understands that the work that needs to go into to get ready. I didn't see Jalen. I mean, maybe he came out after we left, but we hung around for a little bit. I saw DK. I mean, JK. I keep calling him D. I saw JK over there. I saw a bunch of the young D linemen over there working on their hands. Saw the vet, Justin Houston, over there. Didn't see Jalen. Didn't see. I mean, we saw him out there, but didn't see anything that impressed us. And I think it's a very long shot for him to make this team.
Yeah, he was seen, not felt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't feel anything. Nothing popped at you. I saw a guy he's on the edge, and he's a big guy. Like I said before, he's very genetically blessed. Mm-hmm. And to see a second string, third string tackle, so really third string because he's coming in to replace Tyree Phillips, who's a second string, to see a tackle put one arm on you and sustain you there, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about what Pernell McPhee would have done to that dude's arm. Like, you're going to put one arm on me? The disrespect. He break in half. And it's really unfortunate to me. But, the Ravens are cursed in the second round, man.
I guess so. I mean, they found some good ones too. But, yeah, you're right. If you look at their track record.
Except JK.
Yeah, exactly. That's the good one, certainly recently that they found.
And I think, wasn't Torrey Smith the second rounder? Yeah.
He might have been, yeah. And he was certainly right now, he's the best receiver we've ever drafted. And if Hollywood don't get out there, he's not going to be able to compete and try and take that title. There's some people saying that they're thinking you might make a cake that looks like a microphone cover and flake out on actually eating that microphone cover. Can you confirm that you'll do it?
No, I need you to tell them that I'm a man of my word.
He's never, I mean, we were looking at that microphone cover when we were in Maine together. We were thinking about some breading, some dipping sauces.
Yeah. I might deep fry it, like some breading. I might do that.
Eat that thing, and I'm going to make sure he does, because not only did he jump out there, he hasn't backpedaled, has been bullish, I mean, he thinks he's, now I'll say this, there is that extra game that you got to factor in, that he does have one more opportunity to get it. And, it only takes one to get a handful of, 3 sacks or some explosive game, and you might be in trouble. But I'll say this, guys, I think you can be confident in knowing Jimmy's not going to snake his way out of this. He's not going to go down and get a cake made that looks like, No, he's going to suffer through it if he has to.
I will consult my doctor to make sure it is reasonably digestible. I don't want to die, but
I don't want to die.
As long as it is reasonably digested, not even fully digestible, because I highly doubt that. But as long as it's reasonably digestible, I'll spend some extra time on the John.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe just don't have to eat the whole thing. Hey, a couple bites.
No, Glenn, it's got to be done.
Okay, all right. You got to polish off the whole thing.
I got to, man. Look. But I mean, look, I'm a man of my word, and I told you I was going to hit 19, Glenn.
Take your time with it, DK says. I don't know. Like Dawson said, just chew it and you'll be fine. So there you go. Does that make you feel better?
No.
Not at all.
No. I mean, look, they deep fry anything at the state fair. This has got to be.
Absolutely. Right. It's going to be delicious. Get a little bit of powdered sugar or something. Yeah. Put some cinnamon on there. You'll be good to go.
It could turn into a delicacy. You don't know.
Oh, it's going to be disgusting. It's going to be foul.
But look, we're a long way from me eating this thing. 10 sacks?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long one, but I think that he's got a chance. He's got the physical tools. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, let's see if he can translate on the field.
And the other thing too, Nana Rave, I was looking at Justin Houston too, and it is confirmed he does eat frozen children.
He's a big,
babies,
dude.
Right? Like 2 and under, certainly his breakfast. I mean, the dude is just built and looks the part. Certainly one of the nicest guys in the NFL, but looks coming off the bus, you're like, okay. The bald guy with the thick mustache and the big biceps, that's a problem.
Yeah, I loved when he was talking to that little kid that was next to us, and he was like, Justin. And he was like, yeah, what's up? The kid had nothing to say. He was like, like he didn't expect Justin to engage in a conversation with him.
Oh, he had nothing to say back.
Nothing to say.
He's like, what's up, dude? Like, I'm talking to you, talk to me back. Yeah, and he just froze.
He froze up.
I was about to jump in there. That would have been rude.
Yeah,
I wanted to get in there and get some attention. Shoot.
Yeah, it was so cool seeing all the kids out there, man. They're getting a kick out of it. My son got to say what's up to Lamar. Lamar looked over at him, waved to him, and said hi, and that was all it took. Justin Tucker was talking to him. And Tucker, by the way, Tucker's a little bit bigger than I think a lot of people were expecting. He's
He's a
My wife
built
said he
dude.
thinks he's my height. I'd have to look him up though. I was kind of surprised to see.
Yeah, he's talking about well constructed. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a built
for
dude.
a kicker, I mean,
Fabian, no shame here, dude. I really considered it. I'll be dead honest with you. Yeah, I was about to pick up that ball and run with it when that kid dropped it. Yeah, I'll be
oh,
straight with you. Talking about Justin, I'll be straight with you, man. Look, I needed to shoot my shot, and if he shot his, and he had his opportunity, he was standing there hesitating. I'm gonna take that ball.
yeah. And what I love about Jimmy is, he'll go out, he'll talk to anyone. He's like, "Who is that? Who is?" I'm gonna go talk to him, see if I can get him on the show. Like,
Look, but you know what? Let's just say it here successfully. We are going to have Ryan Mink come on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have Cliff Brown. That's right. The Cliff Brown come on the show. And to end the trifecta, Glenn, who else are we having on the show?
Jeff's Reback.
That's right.
Is we're hoping. It looks like everything's lined up that we're gonna have him on the show. So hopefully, it's nice. I mean, these guys are just cool. I mean, they're not looking down on the little guy that is 410 Sports Talk. They actually encouraged us to get in there and try and get a media pass. So we'll certainly be working on that. Try and get ourselves in the door, and then maybe we can hit some hard hitting questions at those pressers. And let them hear it. But
Jimena's coming on the show as well.
Absolutely, which I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Well, we can do it in English.
Okay. Well, maybe you can sprinkle in a couple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because I'll just be sitting there just with my yearbook smile as you guys talk in Spanish, and I'll just be the looks of the operation here, Jimbo. I mean,
yeah. Wait, so Nana Rave, these people, so Cliff Brown and Ryan Mink work for the internal media
Ravens.com.
team. Yeah, they work for Ravens.com exactly as writers, and they do some of the video and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Jeff Zrebeck is the Ravens representative for the Athletic, one of the best follows on Twitter if you're a Ravens fan, so follow him. And then Jimena is the reporter for Ravens Spanish radio. So it's gonna be awesome. I was happy that they're first class, man, all of them, like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked with those guys pretty much the whole second half of practice. We were chatting up with all the and what we wanted to do is, I mean, we burned their ear. We asked them all the how's this guy
hard hitting stuff.
I mean, they've been there the entire time, and so we wanted to make sure we bent their ear a little bit and find out some of the inside scoops, and they were really generous with their time and giving us all the information they had. You like the yearbook smile, Prince? Hold on, yearbook style. There it is. The money maker. But yeah, so Dwayne Hunter asked about news on Bateman. Still just it's a groin injury. Not sure the grade yet. I think the early reports are grade 2, which could be like 5 weeks.
And now, if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 of these, right? Because he had the hammy, wasn't it before? And now it's the groin too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just worrisome because, even if it's, the groin starts to feel better, compensation injuries, you worry about a lot of things. When it's those soft tissue, they can tend to linger. And then when it feels good, it feels great. You want a route, and then doink, you're back to square one again. Yep. So it's just it's a tough injury. And I'm certainly concerned about a guy who can't finish a practice. It doesn't look like he's been able to do so, certainly for quite some time. So the concern level is rising, no doubt about it, because when he is on the field, he just looks different. His routes look different. He's so smooth.
He looks bigger than I thought too.
Yeah, he's well put together guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And what I'm worried about is just, another season in which, he can't practice. We hope he can get into games. And then we see other guys that were taken after him, like a Terrace Marshall, because the reports are that he's looking really good in Carolina. That I just don't want it to be the same narrative, that we saw from when Hollywood, because there was a lot of guys taken after Hollywood that turned out to be Pro Bowlers and some All Pros, and it's just like, man, I really hope that I hope this doesn't. Yeah, another case of that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The field was a little slippery today too.
It rained as we were pulling in, so
yeah, not an excuse, but certainly something.
Did you hear Bill Belichick when asked about the rain recently?
No. What did
he
say?
He goes, it rained today, so we practice in the rain. Tomorrow, if it doesn't rain, then it doesn't rain, and we'll practice without rain. Like he just doesn't even care. Like, he doesn't change anything. He's like, yeah, it rained, so We practice. That's what it was. And then tomorrow, like he's just like, I don't give no excuses, no changing of the program.
Now, Glenn, I got to ask you this because there's people talking about it in the comments. I haven't seen any of these reports. They're unverified, at least by me. But apparently your boy, Glenn, Big O.
Oh, I'm glad you brought it up.
Apparently he's not doing too well. And we talked to some
so happy.
We talked to some media members today about no. So you mentioned your opinion not being very popular.
Yeah.
About Big O. And so talk to me. You're happy. You're feeling good that he's apparently struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was Tanja who originally brought it up. So shout out to Tanja Bowman. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that he, I mean, look, I know I'm a little salty, and yeah, I'm a Ravens fan. So when I feel you burn the Ravens, especially a guy he was a Raven for life. I mean, this is a guy who was younger than us when we went to our first training camp. He was out there with his dad. So I just thought the way
he's probably big enough to put the pads on back then.
Exactly. And I thought the way he left was not the way to do it. You don't go to social media and you don't kill your trade value when you go behind closed doors and you do it then. But I love hearing that he's struggling with this pass first offense. Look,
who called it? Who called it, Glenn? I got to give props. Tony called it. Got to
give Tony Thornton, who we finally met in person, who is a great guy, great guy. And yeah, he was the one on it first. Said, I think he's overhyped. And we were even like, whoa, pump the brakes a little bit. He played well. But when you look at it, this offense just makes offensive linemen play better. It just does. I mean, Ronnie Stanley went from the 10th to 12th best tackle in the league to the all-pro and a historic left tackle season when Lamar took over and this offense really was implemented with Greg Roman at the helm. So I do think he was benefited by a run-first offense that has the most elusive quarterback in NFL history behind it, and you just have to change how you rush the guy when you have to deal with it. And the deception that this offense creates makes guys second-guess and pause. He's not going to have some of that. Now, this is still a great offense he's going to with arguably the best quarterback in the league, and most people will put him up there. So, but it's still a pass-first offense and an offense that often gets criticized. Now, as of late, they've been winning, so they haven't. But Andy Reid has been criticized from his entire career for not running the ball enough, even when they have success running it. He just gets away from it. So he could struggle, and nothing would make me more happy than to see him struggle. I know I'm petty. I get it. But I'm an emotional Ravens fan, and I'm going to be petty about this. And he burned my team. So I'm happy to hear that reports are he's struggling, and I hope on week 2 we see a Dafe Owe get you that much closer to eating that microphone cover with a couple sacks on his ass.
Oh man, I love it. I'm with you. I'm excited that we're going to that game and that you get to boo him. I'm glad that
I'm gonna be hoarse coming out. They're gonna hear us after the game. I have no voice. I'm gonna be in the chat. Just all you see me is in the chat.
That's awesome. Now I do want to change really quickly over. We didn't cover safeties or tight end. No, we did talk tight ends. Mark Andrews is just so good.
So good.
He made a catch on the sideline, and literally somebody turned around and looked at me and was just like, "This guy is just ridiculous."
So good.
I mean, I'm extremely talented. Looks great. No concerns, no worries for me so far. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see how much more open he will be with our new receivers as long as they can stay healthy. But I saw Chuck Clark flash today.
Yeah.
I think once or twice. And then just lumping in all the secondary, I saw him flash. And then I also saw Averett. He undetermined whether or not it was a pick or not. But had a nice
some
play
good and some bad out there. Had some tough because I did see him get mossed a little bit. I think it was Josh Oliver that went up and grabbed one over him.
Somebody said he dunked on Averett today.
Yeah, but he definitely but you're right. I mean, the safeties played well. I think Joker's up for a big year. I loved hearing his presser after. He was talking about how, last year he was just hoping not to mess up, and he didn't really catch up to the speed of the game or feel comfortable till the playoffs. This year, totally different. He's looking to become the playmaker he was back at Texas. Chuck Clark, I think you're right. He's underrated, Dawson, in the sense that, he's just so smart. He's always in the right position. Hopefully we can see some more playmaking out of him this year. We love all that he brings to the team, but I want to see some more playmaking out of him. And the same goes for Joker. I mean, I love the hitting he was bringing, certainly laying the wood in the run game. Want to see him get his hands on a few more balls because he did it at college a ton. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this group of safeties. I think it's an underrated group because most look at it and see it as a top heavy group. And we even talked about that where you don't necessarily have that obvious number 3 guy to go in and just take over for one of those guys. But they have guys that are really good at certain things, especially, we talk about Kokap and Levine and what he can bring. And they have guys that I think can really play. It's just going to be interesting to see how many they keep. What do they do with Stone? What do they do with Washington? What do they do with Stevens? But yeah, I'm excited about the group.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you 1,000%. Can't wait to see what happens. Somebody mentioned, we don't want to miss any names as far as the corners go. We talked about Westland. Marlon got tested 4 times in a row, and Joker talked about you got to be an idiot.
Westry, by the way.
Oh, sorry, Westry.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be an idiot to go at Marlon 4 times in a row. Marlon Humphrey is just ridiculous. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. He looks more confident. He looks faster. I mean, the guy doesn't quit on the weights. That's for sure. I think that was something that we will never see in a game, attacking Marlon Humphrey 4 times in a row. And I mean, it was just impressive the pass breakups that he had. His timing seems to be better as well for me when the ball's coming into the receiver's hands, the way he can slip his hand in between and knock that ball out. So that was impressive. I didn't honestly see a ton from Marcus Peters. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying I didn't find myself watching him a ton, other than the fact that I yelled out "Juice Man" when we walked in and he said, "What's up?" So that was cool. I don't know if you saw anything particular or
didn't see a ton from him out there today. I mean, nothing bad, obviously,
right,
but also nothing that jumped out at me. But of course, I mean, look, they move fields, and you can definitely miss guys. So if he did make a play, we missed it. But yeah, I love what Humphrey. I love his mindset of it's not a catch until it's like a catch. Even if the guy gets it, he gets his hand in there and he rips it out before you get to make it a true catch. Love his physicality. I just loved. Ray is worried about you eating that microphone cover.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's a medical professional because he based on his previous comments, I'm pretty sure. Ray, if I blend it, can I put it in my high powered blender?
If you do, you got to videotape you blending it so we can verify the validity of the fact that it's in there.
Right. Well, you can be there. You can be
okay.
present.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll make sure. He does. Yeah, King. We talked about Bateman a lot earlier. But Marlon is just. I loved watching him and Watkins go at it all day. I mean, it just seemed like they were all matched up. Did you just remove me?
No, that was an accident. Sorry.
Here we go. He's cut me out.
That was an accident. My bad.
Hurts my feelings. But yeah, I think I'm certainly concerned with Bateman, as just to sum it up.
Yeah.
Because when he's on the field, he looks different, but he hasn't been on the field a ton.
Yeah. No, somebody said that I look a little nervous. That's because my wife is not home right now and I'm hearing a lot of noises upstairs and another front door was unlocked. So, Glenn, I'm going to put yourself on solo screen and I'm going to check the front door real quick because
you got it.
We're live. That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
So, have at it, my man. I'm nervous about Bateman too. Let me just say that.
Okay.
I'm more nervous about who's at my front door.
Okay, go check it out. Hopefully everything's okay. Jimmy is in Baltimore City, so as you know, things can get a little interesting down there. But yeah, let me have 911 on standby. But quickly, I want to remind everyone, if you're going to camp, a couple things. Follow the music if you want to, because guys move fields, so you could walk all around this side and the offense could be there. Then the whistle's blown. They go to another field that transitions. So follow the music. That's what Sean, who is, one of the sideline guys, making sure everybody, keeps their distance. Follow the music. If you want to see the 11 on 11, if you want to see the 7 on 7, the one-on-ones will kind of float around to different fields. But those were also super fun to watch, especially the wide receiver versus the DBs was exciting to see the guys going out there and battling and really, going at it with each other. That was super fun to watch. Get the free ice cream, get the free waters, enjoy it out there. They're super nice. 410, Chris says that Oweh's at his door. Yeah. If he opens the door and Adafe Owe standing out there, Jimbo, he's shifty. He's Jimmy Haskell the Rascal. But I don't know if he's running a 4.340, and that guy's 260. So I don't know how he's going to get away.
Oh, you doubting my 40 skills, Glenn?
Well, 410 Chris says that it was Owe at your door. So
if you want to, after all that, you want to know what was going on?
What was going on?
My big dog was getting up on his chair. That's all it was. He just sounds like a human. Just
He's a big boy.
Gosh, Coda.
He's a
Goodness,
big boy.
Goodness gracious. So that's why I was concerned, because I'm thinking somebody's going to walk in the door. He doesn't know. He's at least going to let me know the windows are going to shake based on his bark.
Yeah, it could be bad news.
Yeah. So I'm not getting away from Oway. That's for sure. I might get him for a second, but after that, no chance.
I tried to get Jimbo to run out in the field and give a couple of them security guards the shake, but I think you could have gotten a couple of them, Jimbo.
Oh, for sure.
They were a little thick around the midsection. You're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think I would have I liked my odds but certainly Chad Steele would have just come out there and cut me in half.
Big dude. And by the way, when we went on vacation, we found one of those speed things that tell you how fast you're going, encourage you to slow down. So, of course, we had to, Jimbo had to run on it. He had to run. And let's say this, my 7-year-old hit 12 mile an hour on the speed trap, which was pretty impressive for a 7-year-old. And the first run, Jimmy was barefoot. He had to kick off the flip-flops. Only ran 15 miles an hour, and I was giving him a hard time, and it was eating at him. I was calling him 15. I was calling him 1.5. I'm like, you're only 3 mile an hour faster than my 7-year-old. But Jimmy, you did redeem yourself, right?
I did. The next morning, I went out for a run around the lake, and I ran past the speedometer, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And dag nabbit, I got about 30 feet past it, and I said, gosh, I got to do it. So I turned around and went at it at the first go, hit 19 miles an hour, and I said, all right, give me a second. I'm gonna hit it again. So I took about 45 seconds, turned the camera on while running. All right, ladies and gentlemen, while running, had the camera up, and Glenn verified it. He saw the 19 miles an hour while recording, ladies and gentlemen. I'm fully convinced that next time I will be 20 and above.
Okay. All right. Well, I was really loving that 15 because I didn't think it would eat at you that much, but it was bothering you when I was giving you a hard time.
Certainly concerned.
Yeah, he was like, how about you go out there and run? I said, because I saw them quads, how they were burning on that sprint. I would fall apart.
That's why we need to get you out there next time, Glenn.
Come on now, man. I hit 39 on the bike.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
Hey, man, shoot. Coming down that monster hill.
Yeah,
man.
I came down a hill, but we won't talk about that.
Oh, well, that's true. Hey, just to do it is ballsy enough, man. I'm not going 39 on a bike.
Yeah, that was a pretty steep hill. No doubt about it. But yeah, so I guess the final one, Jimbo, funny looking Yo says, did you guys officially settle on 6 receivers, 7?
I'm still on 6. Certainly with Boykin not even being a question at all. And then were you still on 6?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think if Boykin was healthy and having like his best camp, then there's a conversation for 7. But right now, I think it's just 6, and Prochet is that 6 guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then Nana Rave, totally off topic here, but we took pictures and videos. I don't know if you talked about it, but
get them up on Instagram.
Yeah, it's true. We talked about in our last one. 3 breaches, full breaches, ladies and gentlemen.
So cool. See a humpback whale come out of the water right next to you is something I'll never forget. And the baby was trying to imitate mom and barely getting up out of the water. It was something I'll certainly never forget. And I'll also never forget the triage unit that was the inside of that boat was just crying, sad-looking, miserable people who did not understand how seasick they would get. And that boat ain't turning around. So they had 5 hours of absolute misery and tears. It was a mess in there. It was a hospital looking inside.
Absolutely. And then Lisa, I agree with you that when my wife does go into labor, I will certainly be breaking 19 miles an hour, booking it to that hospital safely.
Yes, that's right. And hopefully it's past the Chiefs game because it's a little tight there. And I might have to maybe I'll have to hit up DK and see if I can drag him
DK, be
over.
on standby, bud, because if I can't make it, you might as well take my ticket.
That's right.
So be on standby, my man. But the other thing I want to do real quick, DK, if you want to hop in here, we want to do some words of wisdom from DK. But Glenn, I want you really quickly I have my funniest moment today at camp. Do you have, off the top of your head, a funniest moment that you can think of?
Wow. If you might have to give me a minute for this one.
Yeah, let me
yeah.
tell you mine and then think of yours. So today there was about 6 kids in front of us. And first of all, at least for the first like quarter of practice, these kids were ruthless, man, just brutal. Anyone that made a mistake, anyone that fell, anyone that didn't catch a pass, just dogging them, right? At the same time, they were cheering everything else. But man, I was cracking up because this one kid kept yelling to Rashad Bateman to try and get his attention, and he kept saying Rashard. And between the 5 of them, they're like, dude, it's Rashard. And they're arguing back and forth. It's Rashad. And I finally went, hey guys, it's Rashad. But yeah, it was really funny to watch them.
Those kids were going after it, man.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Young teenagers, man, they can be rough. They're yelling at Sammy, wave at me.
Yeah, like they owe it to him. And then when it was Khalil Dorsey that got hurt.
Yeah, that was so sad.
Yeah,
like, who is it? And it was like, it's Khalil Dorsey. Like, who cares?
Yeah, no big deal. Like, dang. And we didn't talk about the quarterbacks, bro.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
crapping.
You're stealing my spotlight. I was going to ask you guys about Lamar and the quarterback.
Yeah. Look, let me just say this real quick, Glenn. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We have great things to say about Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
All right, Glenn, go.
He looked, for one, it's a different atmosphere when he's out there. Like he's throwing, like Jimmy said, he's throwing balls behind his back on the money. Like he just has a looseness about him, a confidence about him. Certainly looked good out there, though. I mean, looked fast, looked accurate. I loved. They have a drill where they just take the snap, boom, and fire it into a net with a target. I thought really all the guys were looking good out there. Trace as well. The funny thing is, he's just a slight looking guy. Like, I knew Jimmy, you thought he looked bigger than you were expecting, but to me, Lamar is size, like he looks obviously bigger than him and Tyler. He's just a big guy compared to what what Trace brings. But I think all of them, as far as arm, they looked good. I think Trace was behind on a couple. Same with Snoop. I thought he was behind on a couple, but overall looked good. Had some good velocity behind it. But it's just something that Lamar just brings a different confidence to the offense. Just brings a lightness to practice, and he's always cutting it up with someone. Always looks like he's keeping it light and joking with somebody out there. Yeah,
certainly. It's funny because I was kind of, they were watching we were watching the drills in the morning, the wide receivers and tight ends just running routes, and I was like not even a 7-on-7. I mean, it's just the entire offense just simulating plays, no defense out on the field. And Lamar just kind of effortlessly, not that he doesn't care, but he just walks through these plays effortlessly, right? Like he's like, all right, like I know how to do this. I can do this with my eyes closed, do this in my sleep, do this with no arms. How you want it? You know what I mean? But then 11-on-11s, 7-on-7s are out there, and he is full go, 1,000%, ready to hit it. And he's just a gamer. He just turns it on, knows how to turn it on, and get after it. So
and as far as the reports, because yesterday when we talked about that there were reports coming out, it was really on two opposite ends of the spectrum. You look at one guy tweeting, and they go, "Wow, he looked good. He had a high completion percentage." And then the other guy's like, "Well, yeah, but they weren't like good completions. They were behind them. They were causing guys to go down to the ground with the
receivers
ball.
Making a play on a ball when they shouldn't have to."
Right. So we wanted to see it with our own eyes. And then we also asked, guys that have been there for every one of these practices, and he looks like Lamar. He looks like, now he's like certainly obviously a lot better than when we first saw Lamar coming out of camp. He just looks like Lamar Jackson has looked over the last couple of years. And then when he gets in the game, he's a gamer. I mean, so nothing disappointing, nothing shocking. Like, it's not like he comes in like, wow, he's holding the ball completely different. He's got a completely different this. No, he just looks like Lamar, which is really, really good. So
yeah, that was a great point. And shout out to Cliff for mentioning that, because DK, we asked him about what his take, like what Glenn was saying about his take yesterday, and I just thought it was really funny. He just shrugged his shoulders. Yeah, he looks like Lamar Jackson. He's not Aaron Rodgers. So what? Like. Yeah. He is who he is. He doesn't need to be Aaron Rodgers. Like, they're different football players. Like, I don't even, like, he was like, I don't even get concerned about it, whether it was on target, not on target. He's Lamar Jackson. Like, that's what he looks like. That was profound, like very simple, but also very profound.
Yeah, the look on his face was like, he looked like Lamar.
Yeah, who cares?
It's Lamar.
He was like, I'm not worried about it at all. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, that was cool.
Is it safe to say that you're not worried about the report you got from your source then?
Yeah, I'm no longer concerned based on what I saw with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think Cliff kind of put that one to bed for me as well. So yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling great. I think Lamar Jackson is going to kill it this year. He just seems excited to be out there and playing football. Where last year I felt like he was just like you talked about Glenn with Joker. I think he was a little afraid to make a mistake sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this year he just seems looser and ready to get after, just having fun again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
DK, go ahead.
I know you recently wrote an article about the catch up that Lamar is anticipating or has to make. Like, were you at all concerned about that catch up period?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was really thinking about the time that he missed, the 10-day absence, and he was there during OTAs, so it was maybe less of a concern. A lot of veterans don't participate in the OTAs, and so it's just kind of an assumption that they don't need to kind of play to catch. So, but since he had that time, I think it kind of weighs out a little bit of the absence that he had during training camp. So maybe it's not that bad. I think the question is, he's got new targets. So how much can he build the chemistry with those guys in a way that, with the pads on? And is that going to be, kind of good enough to run right into the regular season? So, I know there's a lot of questions out there about, hopefully he stays healthy. And then I think the biggest question I didn't write about this, but I will, is, and we haven't talked about this yet, is Josh Allen's deal. And, Josh Allen just signed this huge contract that puts him basically right between Mahomes and I guess it's Dak Prescott. And, where does that put Lamar? And, you could say that, it's a possibility that, Lamar being sick, for a little while, maybe that detracted. I'm not sure if he could have used that time towards any contract negotiations, but, it's clear that now people are going to be they've got the stopwatch on, between him and Baker, who's coming next. So, but I think it's very interesting. Now Lamar's got an opportunity to maybe take Josh Allen's contract, switch names, maybe add a little bit of something, and then call it a decent deal. So I think that's also an interesting kind of twist that Josh Allen kind of jumped out there. But I mean, hey, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I called it.
Yep,
guys that have representation always have more of a motivation to get deals done. That's just the bottom line. I mean, when you're a player, you're not really in a rush unless you really are worried about your own play. You're going to bet on yourself, right? Whereas an agent's going to try to bring you back down to earth and try to get you to sign something, sooner rather than later. It provides security, but it also gets the agent paid. So
no doubt,
Lamar's not worried about getting paid. He will get paid eventually.
Yep.
But there's also other concerns too. Now that he's missed time, does that actually affect anything that towards his contract? And all the stuff that you guys talked about in the other video too. So I'm going to start touching on some of that stuff and see what I can come up with. But a lot of exciting things. But I will say, sorry, just to jump, I'm jumping all over the place. But I am jealous. I'm jealous of you guys being out there, out in the field, talking to the Ravens, talking to the media. Rubbing shoulders. That's and James out there, just making deals with them, making deals. I really want to be out there, so I'll get out there as soon as I can to join you guys.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. I tell you what, you thought we were out there. My man Tony's been out. He was at the stadium. He was out there yesterday. He was out there today. He's going to be there tomorrow. He's going to be there the next day.
Wow.
My man.
He's going to be there Saturday.
We can't wait. We're going to definitely have him back on here soon.
I think probably next week, Tuesday, after the preseason game.
Yeah, because there's not many people that have seen more practices than Tony Thornton. And of course, he's a good friend of the show. So love to have him on to get his take, because, I mean, this guy doesn't miss a thing. He was out there by himself today waiting for us with his notepad ready, taking notes.
Oh, wow.
I love his passion, man. True passionate Ravens fan, no doubt.
Yeah,
about
we're
it.
lucky to have him as a guest on the show. Certainly, he's a
I
diamond
love
in the
Tony.
rough because, yeah, I think more shows would benefit from having him on. But we'll take it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love the guy.
We'll absolutely take it.
I can't wait to meet him too. So
yeah, no, Tony's awesome.
My wife was like, I had a different vision of what Tony would look like. Tony don't miss gym days neither.
Nope.
Let me say, Tony put together too, man. He's a put together guy, Yeah, big, strong guy. But yeah, it was awesome seeing him out there. Everyone else who we saw, like the fans that came up to us and said what's up. Appreciate you guys talking to us.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone in the chat, keeping us feeding us with questions and keeping us thinking. Tanja Bowman, appreciate you always being in the chat, and thanks again for the Big O news. Appreciate you filtering that to us because that made my night. Don C, always pumping up the likes. Appreciate you. Robert Pittman, hey, he's out in California with you, DK. Maybe you guys both have to come to town and catch a game. Let's see. King of Pugo, appreciate you coming out and chatting it up with us. Nana Rave, as always, keeping it straight. Lisa Ann, feeding us the questions. Never stop. Funny looking, you as well.
Prince Quan with the funny comments tonight on the Taco Bell. That was great.
Yeah, Troy with Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
I love that. That's something I probably won't forget. At least I hope I don't, because that is hilarious. And by the way, that's not my only bucket hat. I have a litany of bucket hats because I'm a big fan. Because look, when you're this pale, you're a freckle face guy. You need protection from that sun because it will burn, and especially all this real estate right here. Oh, you don't want a burned forehead. Let me tell you, it sucks. And that bucket hat protects those and my ears, which I don't want to have a burnt ear. It's very uncomfortable. So yeah, I love the Gilligan's Island. But yeah, appreciate you guys all coming out. Everyone who didn't comment and just was a silent observer, appreciate you as well. And we will be back soon.
See ya.
Nice.